Welcome back, our wonderful listeners, to the 12th episode of Beyond the Pages podcast, brought to you by Accessible Publishers Limited. I am Uchechukwu Judith, and I am thrilled to be speaking with an esteemed guest, the author of Path of Lucas, Susanne Bellefeuille, on her moving autobiographical novel, The Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured. Susanne Bellefeuille is a mother, she is a grandmother. She's an inspirational mentor to many people. She graduated from Social Service Worker Program at St. Lawrence College in Cornwall, Ontario, where she spends countless hours offering professional aid to people with intellectual disability. As we all know, that Path of Lucas is one of the official harmonized novels for WAEC and NECO. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed author, Susanne Bellefeuille, on today's podcast. It's so wonderful to connect with you today. So let's get started already with it. Can you please tell us what inspired you to become an author? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what inspired you to become an author?
Hi, my name is Susanne Bellefeuille. I am the author of the book Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured. I am here to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a mother of 4 grown boys, and I am a grandmother of 4 grandchildren. I work with special needs, and it's a very rewarding job. Every time they succeed and have a smile on their face, makes my job that much more better. And I also want to talk to you about what inspired me to write, and it's my father. He was the glue that kept the family together. He went through a lot of hardships in his life, and he never gave up. And he also made me the strong person that I am today.
Now let's talk about Path of Lucas. Can you give us a sneak peek into Path of Lucas and what inspired you to write that particular wonderful story?
This book is based on true events of my parents' life. Lucas was a man that had to endure many painful and hardships throughout his whole life. One of the most hardship that he had to endure was the fact that Isabel, his wife, took a psychotic depression. The doctors did everything in their powers to help her, and there's nothing more they could do, so they gave up on her. Lucas did not. He took everything in his power to make her come home to her family. What drove me to tell you the story is for readers to believe in themselves and to never give up, even in the darkest moments.
Very interesting creative inspirations you have here. Thank you so much for this wonderful novel. So we'll move on to the next question, which is, can you tell us, were there any novel, any author, or any personal experience that shaped your characters, the way you wrote the story? Was there any personal experience or novel or author that shaped how you crafted the story?
The author that influenced me the most was Wayne Dyer. He wrote a lot of books on self-help. I read a lot of his books, and I also listened to his podcasts, which made me a better person.
That's fascinating. Now, in your view, what do you think makes this Path of Lucas unique? Why do you think this book is unique and it stands out when you compare it to other books in the same genre? What do you think makes it unique?
Why this book is unique and sets apart from other books is because it's personal to me. It's a book that helped me endure my childhood pain. Also, it's a book that I wrote from the heart, and I want the readers to get out of this is to believe in themselves and to not give up.
Wow, that's a beautiful one. Thank you so much for the advice. Thank you so much for crafting this story, this personal story. So, on the flip side, was there any challenge you faced? Were there any challenges you faced while writing this book? Because we feel like it's personal, like it's a very personal book to you. Was there any challenge you faced while writing this book?
The challenges that I faced writing this book was opening up new painful events throughout my life, my childhood. Also, the fact that when I was writing this book, my father was so proud of me writing a book, and that he ended up dying before my book was finished and published. That was my most painful, challenging part of writing this book.
Oh, that's sad. Sorry for the loss. It's clearly a very big journey indeed. So let's shift a little bit. Let's shift the gear a little bit. Can you tell us, are there any underlying messages that you hope that readers of this book will take home when they read this book? Are there any hidden underlying messages that you feel this is what the reader should go with?
The underlying messages that I want the readers to get from this is to believe in themselves and to never give up no matter what life throws at them. Also, if you're feeling depressed, to seek help, or if you have a family member or a friend that are feeling depressed, for them to seek help. My mom, she hid her depression and she ended up having a psychotic depression, which makes it very hard for the family to endure.
Wonderful insights, sure to resonate. Thank you so much for sharing all these personal stories with us. We appreciate that we're able to speak one-on-one with you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So before we wrap up, are there other upcoming literary works in progress that we are expecting? Are there any upcoming literary works that is going to come up from you?
Yes, I am writing a sequel. The second book will be about Isabel's psychotic depression, the in-depth about how she went through her depression and what the family endured.
That's amazing. We'll definitely keep an eye out for that book. We're sure that it's going to be a very beautiful one. As part of Lucas being your first novel made so much impression, that means this coming one will be surely an amazing one. Thank you so much for that. So as an author that you are, can you tell us what do you think are the rewarding aspects of being an author? What do you think authors get? What do they gain from being, and what's the joy of being an author? And also, what will you tell upcoming authors, young authors, people that are about to publish their first novels, to write their first novels or stories? What do you tell them? What's your advice to them?
The most rewarding aspect of being an author is putting all your thoughts and feelings on paper and to make these characters come alive. The most rewarding is sharing my story and to reach out to readers and help them through the challenging parts of their lives. The advice I would give to aspiring writers is to write from the heart and to not let anybody tell you can't do it. Believe in yourself and you can do it.
Oh, thank you so much for this motivational advice, this wonderful advice that you've given to upcoming authors. So before we wrap it up, the last but not the least, do you have any words to say to Accessible Publishers Limited? Do you have anything to tell us at Accessible Publishers Limited?
My personal words to Accessible Publishers is thank you. Thank you for believing in my book, Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured. And also, it is an honor for my books to be put in schools for young youth to read. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so much, Susanne Bellefeuille, for this wonderful opportunity. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to have you today on our podcast. And we've learned a lot. Personally, we've learned a lot from today's show. Thank you so much for making out your time to speak with us about this personal novel, about Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured. We are so grateful, and thank you so much, our wonderful viewers too, for sticking through to this very moment. Thank you for listening to every bit. This podcast will go a very long way, especially to students that are writing WAEC, writing NECO. It's very important that your child will listen to this podcast. It's very important that you as a teacher also listen to this podcast. It gives you a direct communication, a direct feeling for this part of Lucas, for this book. It helps students and it will also help teachers as well. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for staying with us and learning one or two things. So we hope you enjoyed this show to the very end. As we all know, Path of Lucas is one of the official harmonized literature, and it's now very close to you. You can reach out to any bookshop close to you to get this Path of Lucas. Feel free to also contact us on our social media platform to see our array of educational books for students writing WAEC and NECO. You will see that we have Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured by Susanne Bellefeuille. We also have Once Upon an Elephant, and then we also have Anthony and Cleopatra. So feel free to maximize this. Thank you so much for staying with us through to this very moment. Join us next time for other captivating stories which will glue us and build us educationally. Thank you. See you next time.